Hey people, what's going on? I'm the Broken Puppet, and today we're going to be drawing a really cool tattoo style panther. And that's why we're doing this on the iPad Pro, and it's going to be in Procreate, okay? Procreate is the application we're using for this. You can do it on paper, you can use anything you want, you know, it's just got copy, I do it on here, on there. It's really that simple. So I'm using this, and if you're familiar with this, you have layers, just like Photoshop and other stuff. I'm going to have sketching, I'm going to do a little sketching stuff. I'm going to have colour, shading and line work. I'm going to have it in this order, so the line work's on top. Shading's just underneath and colour's going to sit on the bottom. You know, it's just the kind of correct layout you kind of want for this sort of stuff. So here we go, I'm going to start with the sketching. If doing this on paper, you can use black, but I like to use red for the sketching tool for this. So I'm going to use sketching, technical pencil. I'm going to use a fairly dark red and just go for this kind of red. This is on my Broken Puppet old school set. You can get this on my Instagram. I think I'm on Pinterest as well, so you can check out on there. Right, so anyway, here we go. So I'm going to start off with sketching in a circle just like this. Can do another circle just a bit further up than that one. Coming off the back of this circle, I'm going to come across like this. I'm going to make this kind of curved rectangle shape like this. Now you see there's a little gap just here, little gap just here. And this is going to make it so it's a bit like a right kind of angle. So on the nose here, and it's going to be at the top bit of the nose just here. And this mouth's going to curve around in this kind of angle here. Underneath the bottom mouth here, we're going to have the teeth, so I'm going to have two sort of triangle bits, just like this. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's got 4 little teeth in between that. Now in this location, in this little gap, this little kind of V shape we have here, or triangle shape rather, it's going to have the eye, so the eye's going to be a circular shape. I'm going to create little curves over the top, coming back. Don't worry about detail at this point, we're just kind of putting everything where it should be, and we'll work that out afterwards. So I'm going to move this curved line, come back around like this. Where you come off the top of this bit here, I'm going to curve this out and curve that back, just to give a rough idea of where the head, you know, where the ear goes rather, not the head, the ear. Another little curve just off the side there, just kind of tell where the second eye would roughly sit. Now coming down here, this is going to be the back of the cheek, so it's going to curve off like this, and this is going to curve down here. Another rough little kind of ball shape just here. It's going to curve up, and again, teeth underneath, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 circles in the middle bit. 2 big curved triangles to the top, and kind of a bit of gum just around here. And this is going to curve up and connect up here. Off the side of this, I'm going to bring these long triangle shapes. It's going to create some whiskers. I'm going to do this on both sides. See, just like that. So you get a really nice kind of effect. You know, I mean, there's different ways of doing the whiskers, but I said we're just kind of plotting everything in this point. You know, don't worry about detail at this stage. This is just kind of building up the basics. You know, when you're doing the basics, you don't want detail. You know, detail is nothing but a hindrance when you're trying to build that up. A couple of curves inside, just roughly where the mouth is going to be. It's going to be a few little circles just here. Going to give those little bits kind of on the whiskery bits. Coming off the back of this head just here. So follow this line. That's going to tell us where the top part of the neck goes. This other part's going to go here. I'm going to have a flower on the side bit here, I think. So I'm sketching a rough circle. Another rough circle inside that. I might divide this into say 6. You have like 6 leaves just around the outside. I'm going to have these curves on the outside, so I'm going to do 3 of these, like 3 leaves, just curving outwards like this. So just curve the other way inside, do a line down the centre. Make the line a little bit longer because we're going to kind of curve back off of those. You know, like I said, it's just a rough shaping. And this is pretty good because it gives these necks something kind of come off of, you know, so it doesn't just kind of fade to nothing. There's nothing wrong with fading to nothing, but I prefer when they don't. And I prefer a little bit of a tilt, so I'm going to tilt him just a little bit like that. You know, I like that. I think that's a really nice kind of way of doing it. And that's the sort of shape that I want really. And I'm pretty happy with that. So I think now we've got that, we can sort of start to go into a bit more detail. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this opacity down a touch. You know, if you're doing a paper, you can just rub it out a little bit if you want. And that will just get like a bit of tracing paper over the top. You know, a lot of tattoo artists, when we do this sort of thing, we sort of do tracing paper for layers. It's a really nice way of building it up. You know, what we do now, we turn it down and we've got slightly, once we've got it like this, what we're going to do now is slightly refine the detail before we do the actual line work. So this is basic build up, so this is the basic structure, and now we're going to refine it, okay? So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see everything nice and clearly. So you've got his face here. I'm going to start with his nose, so I'm going to curve up. There's lots of different ways of doing this, don't sort of think this is the only way of doing it, it's just a nice little quick easy way of doing it. So I'm going to create this little loop like this, so you have a little loop there. Curve up, create a little dip just in the centre bit here. Curve off around the outside. Curve outwards. And I'm going to create this kind of sort of join over the top. Now you can make it as thin or as wide as you want. You know, I quite like sort of varying up, and I sometimes have a small nose, sometimes a big nose. All depends on what kind of mood I'm in. So I'm going to create this little line, come down the centre of it now. So kind of splitting this bit here in two. I'm going to curve this out. I'm going to come back here. When I get to here, I'm going to curve around and just create this curves back in. I'm going to do a few of these, just kind of curving around, making this like nice and sort of curved shape. I don't want this kind of being like sort of straight flat. You know, you don't want a straight line here. You want this to be nice and kind of curved. So just like that. Again, just on this side, I'm going to create a few come around here. Again, you want to kind of feel curved. You don't want it to feel straight. You don't want it to feel blocked. I'm going to put a few little circles just in the inside of each one of these, just coming outwards. Just like that. I ain't got to do too many. And off the side bit here, I'm going to bring this line curving back a touch. And I'm going to come over to the eye, because I want this big part here. So I'm going to create this loop first, because this sits over the eyeball. I'm going to bring this back. And get that circular shape just on the inside. And then it's gone off the eyeball there, just kind of curving back, so it kind of connects up to this bit. Like so. And kind of go around there. After back here, I'm going to curve this up. I like to make this little dip in the head just up here. Now you can just create a rest that's nice and flat if you want, but I like that dip. I'm going to create a little pupil so it's kind of looking back this way. You can have a look in any direction you want, but yeah, I can make them look in a different direction. Or should I? Let's have a look at try a few different ones. So you got that. If you double tap on this, it goes back. If you 3 times tap, like 3 fingers, they go back the other way. Looking at us. Oh, I quite like that. I don't normally am looking at us, but I quite like that one. Yeah, let's go for that. He's going to look at us. So now we've got that done. Just move my stuff out of the way. I've got loads of rubbish over here. Just going to curve this around and curve back. And I'm just going to loop this around by the bottom and crowd. So you've got this like little inner part here, just kind of sitting here. I'm going to curve this around. I'm going to have him sitting behind the flower, so his jawline's going to sort of stop and continue on the other side of this. Like I said, at this stage, still be kind of sketchy. You know, you still just kind of put it up. We're refining it, but don't worry about sketchy lines. You know, this is perfectly fine at this stage. Don't worry about that. You know, this is good practice. You know, you want to sort of like kind of like get in the habit of this. You know, you don't want to get in the habit of this when doing the actual line work. Like when we do the fine line with a pen, you want to get used to putting everything in single motions. But for sketching, this is perfect. Marking that around there. I'm going to bring this little curve line inside as well. I like to create this little kind of gummy bit on mine. Now the teeth, the fangs can be as curved as you want. I don't like to make them too curved. You know, certain creatures I do, like if I do dragons, I like to make the teeth like really curved on the dragons. But not on a panther like this. No, he's got good dentures. So I'm just going to curve that around that. That tongue bit just going to curve back like that. Actually, I don't like that tongue. I'm going to create a loop like I normally do. So create a loop just here, coming up, curving down, and then how your back bit's coming off of that. Yeah, I prefer that. That looks better for me. Don't be afraid to correct yourself. You know, nothing's sort of set in stone with this. If you don't like something, just go back and change it. And the whiskers here, I'm going to bring these out long V shapes. Like I said, there's 3 different ways of doing it. This is just one of the ways I like to do it. You know, it's simple but very effective. And put it on the most common ways you'll generally see it done, to be honest. So you see it done up quite nicely. And you can sort of see now if you want anything sort of changed. Like I'm looking down here and I think maybe I might want to bring this back a touch. So easy way of doing that, if you go up here, you got this setting just here, liquefy. It's a really good thing because it won't change the design too much. It won't like sort of fade it, but you can kind of like sort of slowly move little bits back. If you want to make a slight adjustment, obviously on paper you can't do this, but if you do this in Procreate, it's a very handy little tool. I like to lie and say I've done that on purpose to show you, but we all make little mistakes. That wasn't intentional. But I like to think it was. Anyway, back to the sketch. So go into the flower now. So I'm going to sketch around a rough circle, and Procreate's a pretty cool feature. If you do a circle, hold it, and then tap the second finger, it'll make a perfect circle. So you see, you want that perfect circle in there? And I want this to fit a nice equal sort of one on that. Now you can try to do a circle around here, but it's going to be a bit uneven to sort of try and work out so it's nice and parallel with this. The easiest way to do this is either one, do a circle on the outside first, and then do this, but you basically go around it again. So go over the exact circle you just done, hold it, click, then drag outwards. And then what it's going to do is going to create a circle that's nice and perfectly even around that, because it's basically traced off of this one. And once you've got that, you can just divide this up. You can do exact measurements if you want. I like to just kind of roughly sketch them, and I don't particularly mind if they're not 100% dead perfect. You know, imperfection is perfection. Not all the time, but I don't believe perfection is perfection. If it hasn't got some imperfection, then it's not going to be perfect. Back with the philosophy, people. If you've missed my philosophy, let me know. Comment below. I know a lot of people say you should like me sort of talking like this, doing these kind of live videos rather than the structured ones. But yeah, let me know if it's, you know, if you like it or if it's just annoying. You know, if you want me talking, I'll just do these in silence and I can just put like words on top. So yeah, just put some little details. I've got some little lines just down the centre. Put 2 little loops around the bottom bit, just like that. I'm going to start off with a centre bit here. So I'm going to bring this line out. And like I said, I've made that line longer than the curve bits. Because what I'm going to do now is going to create this curve around like this. And I want this to kind of go towards the edge. So you get this really nice kind of like long leaf. You know, I really like doing that. Especially like Neotrad Novel Score, this works really nice. It's a really simple but really effective, easy leaf to do. Just like so. Getting this side, get this out. I'm not sure if I'm going to have 3 or 2 on this. I'm looking at this now and I'm thinking maybe I might just do the 2. But I'll see when I zoom out. Yeah, I like the 2. I think it looks nice because the 3 here kind of brings it longer, and because of the neck shape where it kind of curves that way, it makes sense. And the 2 here where it's shorter and there's not as much space, I think that looks nice as 2. Sometimes less. So you can see now I basically just eliminated the old Linework now, so you've got the initial sketch, it's got that sketch. So I'm going to turn this opacity down a bit, just so you can see it. You know, if you've done a paper, you can rub it out a little bit now. It's just so it's turned down as such because we're going to do line work. So I'm going to go line work. I'm going to go down to either inking, which you know I quite like to use. You've got a technical pen, which is really good, studio pen. You know, if you want like a perfect width, you can use monoline. Go like this. Just turn the size down, those sizes are way too big for that. So like that, I'm going to go black. And yeah, I'm going to use a monoline for most of this, I think. Yeah, about that sort of size. So I'm going to zoom in now. I'm going to go over everything we just done. So everything's nice and neat. Nah, it's a little bit too thick still. Yeah, that's perfect. So I'm going to go over nearly everything, just with a few exceptions. This. So it's basically all the big bold outline I'm going to go around. The only parts I'm not going to go around will be little line details like say here, these bits. And just basically little detail bits that I might want to do with a thinner liner as an option. Hasn't got to be that way. It hasn't got to be done that way. You can do the whole thing in one set line if you want. Now remember, like I said, draw the circle, click the second finger and it makes it a perfect circle if you want to. I don't normally make my eyes perfect circles, but I quite like this one being a perfect circle. I think it just stands out nice and bold that way. Just putting in these teeth, literally just going over everything we've just done. Yeah, I'm going to make the whiskers nice and bold, I think. I was tempted to make the whiskers thinner, but no. Big bold whiskies. Like so. And don't be afraid to turn your paper around. Like you see me flicking this around, don't be afraid that your paper, like me, you see this kind of line, this line here. I find this line a bit uncomfortable in my hand to do. I can do it, but it doesn't feel that comfortable. So if I flipped around this way, done it this way, it feels much more natural for my hand flow. So don't be worried about doing that. You can always flip paper around. There is absolutely zero wrong with doing that. know, generally the same works, you know, just give it a try. You know, everyone draws differently, you know, there's no particular one set rule for everyone. You know, I mean, there's some people draw like crazy. There's a friend of mine that she literally draws like this, and somehow she draws perfectly. I don't understand how the hell she does it, but it works for her. You know, don't be afraid to sort of try different things, you know, like I said. There's no such thing as exact rule book. And no two people are the same. Ooh, making a little mistake here. I've got my little inside gun bit. But I'm going to do some little thinner line details in there as well. So this comes around here, so I'm going to go the curve around that way. Go around this hairline. I'll put a few little detail bits in here as well, just to make it a little bit more interesting. I haven't necessarily got to do that, but I quite like doing it. Dovetail cuts are very handy. And remember, the same thing with circles, you can do with straight lines as well. So here, see here, I've got these like dead straight out. Just like that. Just a nice little wiggle line for these bits. Remember, it hasn't got to be that way. You can do straight edge, you can do curve to the top, you can do M shapes, you can do squiggle line if you want. You can do whatever you guys want. I just think this works pretty nice. It's just simple, like no fuss, just really effective way of doing flowers. You know, not everything that looks good has to be done the hard way. You know, if there's a simple little shortcut, I don't really see anything really wrong with that. As long as you ain't sort of just like ripping off work and just copying that way, but nothing wrong with shortcuts. You know, as long as it ain't sort of like stopping you learning and doing stuff. There. So that's the main bold line. So like I said, it's going to go here. Oh, might as well keep this one on this. Actually no, I'm going to go inking technical pen. I like doing that for the smaller bits. Just whip these in here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This line in here. Make sure I get this curve right. Yeah, like that. I'll flip this around this because I find these kind of curves much easier this way. A bit like that, and that is how you do the line work. Is that recording? There we go. Yeah, so that's all the line work done now. So that line work's done, I'm going to go on here. I'm just going to flick off the sketching layer. So I've got a nice clean layer. And click on your line work and make sure it's set to reference. See here? And what that's going to do now, no matter what layer we're on, when we go to selection tool, little button up here, automatic, it's going to select within that line work. And a little tip, if you click and drag, you're going to see this up here, selection threshold. Okay, make sure it's in the high 90s, so between like 90 to 100%, but not on 100%, because if it's 100%, it does this, selects everything. But what it does by having it quite high, it just stops you get this like white edge around the outside. It's a really simple, easy fix. I'm going to start with the shading now, so I'm going to go on here. I'm going to use a spray paint tool. I really like using this, especially with old school Neotrad. So I'm using a medium nozzle, fairly big. I'm going to select like inside the mouth like I've just got selected here. And just go around the outside like this. Quite a big brush. You get a nice, even smooth shade throughout it. I'm just going to do this for the basis bit, so a little bit just in the gum. A little bit here at the bottom of the tongue. Bring that down a touch, a little bit too big for that. Just like that. You can have a little bit of the back of the tongue as well if you want, to kind of sits behind it. Might put a touch just in the side gum, just at the top and bottom. And the rest is pretty much going to be around the back of the face now. But I'm going to do a quick bit in the flowers as well. Nothing crazy, just this tiny bit just around there. In the leaves, I'm just going to go around the bottom. Just very quick, dark, quick shade out, like that. You know, on old school, it's not often you get like a big long fade out. You know, sometimes you do, but it's very rare. It's normally quite quick to the point. You know, it's quite typical of old school shading. So I'm going to select the face here to begin with. I'm going to go quite large. There's different ways of doing this, it's just one of the ways I'm going to be doing this. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to come around the inside part of the face here. Quite big. I'm going to go around these whiskers, just like this, bit of black fade out. Nothing too crazy. Just make sure that selects a bit, and I'm going to go to this top part here. So around the top part of his nose. I like to go to the edge on these panels, especially at the top of the head. Now you can sometimes do a little white highlight around the edge, but it's just how I quite like to do mine. So I'm going to put it around the edge for now. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go freehand tool, so I'm going to select it and click freehand this time. And what this means, I'm basically going to draw out the shape that I want to shade inside of. And it's only going to shade within the shape that I draw. So I'm going to select this upper eyebrow bit. I'm going to have black, just coming across like that. Just like that, really simple, nice little fade at the top. I'm going to do the same thing here now, and I'm going to select this part here. Oops. Just below the jawline. So I want this to be a little bit different. I want a bit of black just underneath it, but not going past the edge. So I'm going to select there, and I'm going to automatically select that bit because it's all inside that space. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to fade it, and I'm going to leave a little highlight just behind the flower, just as if I had a highlight coming through the centre of it. Just like that. Just a couple of bits I just forgot, so a little bit just on the other side of it, the tongue. And no, I think that'll do it for the black. So that's it for the black shading. So I'm going to go down to the colour now. Now when doing colour, I always say just do the bits you know you want to do first. Like if you can't decide which kind of bits you want to colour in, you know, if your bits sort of in, just do all the bits you know you want to do first. So I know I want this tongue in reds. I know I want it behind a bit of the ears. And the bits inside the ears. There we go. I know I want these red. So I'm going to bung red behind nose. I know I want sort of like lavender kind of sort of tone in the gum bit behind there. And again, I know I want these bits here to be yellow. I'm going to use a nice caramel tone, just come across the edges like this, like that. I think I'm going to have this colour, or the yellow, in the eye, so it kind of carries that through. And the nose, I'm going to have a sort of pinkish tone, so I'm going to go across here, get a nice pinkish tone. I'm going to make this inside bit a bit darker, and this bit a touch bit lighter, just like that. Don't want to be too kind of like sort of 3D, but a little sense of like different direction. The leaves, I'm going to have this nice kind of like old-fashioned army kind of green. And then inside the flower, I think I might have red. Just a very soft build up, not too strong. I'm fading outwards. Maybe a little bit stronger than that. Yeah, there we go. Inside bit, I'm going to have yellow. So I like to carry the colour through. I like to make sure that whatever colour I use in more than one location. I think sometimes if the colour's in one location, it kind of feels a bit solitary compared to the rest of it. So try to make sure you use the same colour at least twice in the image. So I've got this blue there, and I'm going to use this blue in the whisker section. So I'm going to turn this down. I'm just going to throw this kind of inside each one of these whisker bits here. And a little bit just in the centre as well. Also going to use it inside the actual whiskers themselves. I can select down. Ugh. Selection tool gets a little bit annoying sometimes. You accidentally select bigger areas. I'm just going to have this blue coming from the edge, to the outside edge coming inwards. You can do it the other way around, but I quite like it that way. Then we're going to select the teeth. Almost there. I'm going to set this nice kind of sort of like bony kind of brown. I like to have just a little bit on the edge of the teeth, like this on the fangs. Nothing crazy, just real simple. I really like to do that. Don't have to, but I like it. I like it a lot. So I'm going to select my red now, old school red, and I'm going to use a little bit of red in the background just to kind of like bring it out. You know, red's a very traditional kind of colour to kind of bring out the design. A little bit of red in the background, just like that. Never hurts anybody. And there you go, people. That's how you draw an old school panther. I hope you like it. I hope it's helped you guys. Chill videos, comment, like, subscribe. I am the Broken Puppet, people, and I will see you next time. Peace.